Without naming any names, could you maybe give us one or two examples from your experience of an accountant actually being used to launder money and what the impact of that was?
Oh gosh, this is more a question from Mike's history. So I wouldn't be able to name any names, so that's good. But he has spoken about where um, you've got so one that he's really gone with is there was a an accountant with a farmer client. The farmer was falling on hard times, and had someone come to him wanting to hire barns in the farmyard, which of course the farmer was like, excellent, that's great. Now, when those people came to him and asked to hire them, they offered higher than market rate um, rent. So the farmer's like, whoopee doo, excellent, that's great. Um, Hired out these barns. Down the line, law enforcement called. The barns were being used to manufacture drugs. The farmer obviously hadn't done his due diligence. However, this farmer had an accountant who had seen this money coming in, had seen that it was above market value, had not questioned it, had allowed it to go through the books, and really should have seen that that was transactions out of the ordinary, not in line with market value, and questioned it. So he got into a lot of trouble for that one. So that's a good example of where the accountant can just be blind to what's going on as opposed to complicit. Because when we see the headlines, or NCA, the National Crime Agency, news articles where they are investigating and getting accountants and bookkeepers arrested, it tends to be more where the accountant or bookkeeper has become complicit knowingly. But there are these examples of when the bookkeeper or accountant just isn't as diligent as they should be, and thereby becomes an enabler unwittingly. And that's where we've got to be really careful, because I'm sure everyone on this webinar is not intending to be a criminal, doesn't think that they would ever do anything wrong. But actually, if you take your eye off the ball, then there is that possibility that someone bad will come knocking and will take you for a ride, and there is no defense if you should have been able to notice that. The other thing that is really evident from Mike's history, from that, is that where a bookkeeper or an accountant has taken on a criminal client, that down the line they will then tend to take on more and more criminal clients, because that first one will see that the bookkeeper or an accountant is not asking all the relevant questions, and they will tell their criminal chums, make recommendations. And the bookkeeper or accountant often sees a recommended client as a safer option. That's not always the case. So you've got to be wary. A criminal will often use legitimate funds for the first 2, 3, 4, 5 years, potentially longer than that, to build up this relationship with the accountant or bookkeeper, and then start bringing in the dirty money. So again, you've got to be, it's not just that when you engage a new client, you've got to be vigilant all the way through that business relationship. And for want of a better word, you've got to be wary of your clients. You don't want to and you shouldn't suspect all your clients of being criminals, but you do have to be open to the idea that anybody could be, regardless of how well you know them.
Yeah, I've never really considered